Good morning and welcome back to the Raw Uncovered Truth of the Awakened Soul with Nicole and Christy. And I am going to pass it to Christy so she could start with her angel message for today.
Good morning, everybody. The angel message for today is all about forgiveness. And the angels stand before you today asking you to open up your heart space. Now is the time to evaluate your life and see who needs forgiveness and who needs release. By attaching ourselves to old pain and resentment, we cannot move forward. Forgiveness does not mean giving approval to others' behaviors or actions. The power of forgiveness is simply a gift to ourselves that allows ourselves to let go of past feelings and feel lighter in the present. To forgive others can sometimes be easier than to forgive ourselves. To forgive oneself is a powerful act of self compassion. It involves acknowledging mistakes, learning from them, and letting go of self blame. As you forgive yourself, you begin to free up emotional energy. Remember, everyone makes mistakes. It is a part of being human. Show yourself the grace of forgiveness. Continue to stay focused on growth and healing. Release the weight of old guilt, transmuting negative energy into something positive. Forgiveness is such a powerful topic that deeply resonates with every listener on every level. What people don't realize is the weight that they carry when they hold all this profound pain inside their heart. It has both mental and physical aspects, and it's very damaging to the soul and to the physical body. I think people get stuck in forgiving because they feel like they are saying it's okay to keep these types of people in their life, or it's okay for what the trauma this person brought to them. But the real part of forgiving is that you can make peace inside and let them go if needed, or forgive them and move on and create a new bond as well. So there's so much power in forgiving somebody within yourself.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people get stuck. I can totally relate. Let's just start with the angel message for a second because all the downloads that I've received for today's episode is kind of honoring your darkness and, kind of balancing out your darkness and your light and kind of going with that. So, shocking, not shocking that the angel message kind of went right into that. So yeah, no, I think a lot of people get stuck in the fact that they think forgiveness is, oh, I'm supposed to forgive and then, let that person or whatever, like keep, like have that keep repeating. That's when you have boundaries, right? That's when you have to learn how to put up your boundaries and the forgiveness is more for you. So the
Right.
more you forgive yourself, right, your past actions, kind of just, like the angel message said, and I literally have that written down, acknowledging it's right. It's just acknowledging your past actions, your past thoughts, your past behaviors, and honoring them and honoring yourself that that was what you knew at that time, and and you're forgiving yourself and moving forward. That's I think that's going to be a huge topic of today. I think what you
Yeah.
were just saying, Christy, is that, and I totally agree that a lot of people get stuck in the forgiving, not even of themselves, of just like other situations and other people, and thinking that it's going to repeat. And again, that's when I started with, that's when you put up your boundaries and, you have to
Right.
keep those up, right? It's not about allowing those people or the situation to keep reoccurring. It's forgiving. And forgiving is more of, listen, you're stuck in your ways. You go be, I forgive you for what you did. And I'm going to kind of, like put up my boundaries and my protection against you. And I'm going to walk away from that situation. I'm going to keep distance of that situation, but I'm going to heal myself, honor myself, and realize why I kept being into that situation to begin with, or why I kept interacting with those people, and kind of go within and figure out, why it is, right? And then kind of heal yourself on that level too, and forgive yourself for putting yourself in those situations as well. It's all about, like I said, honoring your darkness and your light and your lightness, and kind of, coming into balance and wholeness and oneness within. You want to bounce off of that, or shall I keep talking? Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, yeah, self-awareness is everything. And that's why getting into it, I was saying just because you forgive somebody doesn't mean that you forget what they did or you allow this person to stay in your life. It's not about that. In order to move forward in life, we need to forgive, you know, the person for their actions in a sense where we don't have to be a part of it anymore. We can let them go. And I'm not saying, oh, let them go and let them go in love and light. No, let them go and give yourself the love and light. And,
Absolutely.
and put up your boundaries. And next time around, when certain situations arise, you're going to know right away, should I allow this person in my life, or what do I need to do in order for this not to happen again? But if you don't forgive a situation, you'll never be able to have the self awareness and self compassion to come out of it stronger for the next, time around.
Absolutely. I 1001% agree with that. So it's more of the more energy. I'm going to bounce off of that. So the more energy that you put into a situation or a person, I just overall situation that isn't that you need to forgive, and you need that forgiveness, and you're aware of, that situation. Just kind of put all that energy that you're focused on that, and like turn it back onto you. That's where the energy should be all the time, is on you and your awareness, and again, looking into like why it is that you keep, you're in these repeating cycles, whether
Right.
it's, yourself in a situation or with someone else. And it is all about, I mean, like, and it is the hardest thing, I think, to have compassion for yourself and forgiveness, right? When you're first like awakening and coming to awareness, because there is a lot of shit that you did as a person. A lot of shit. Like that was probably harmful to yourself, right? Not even harmful to others. I mean, I'm sure there's, a lot of people that, were harmful to others as well. Or in situations where you were the toxic one, whatever the case may be. But like, just in general, like being toxic to yourself and allowing all of these things, to continuously happen to you, for you to continuously cycle in. And it's, it's a vicious cycle until you really take a step back and like kind of embrace everything that you've gone through, everything that you allowed yourself to go through, and like really sink into that, and like bring in the light, and all of that pain. That's where you find your light. Like that's, like and I say this as a light worker because light workers go through the worst amount of pain. So we can help you transmute everything, and make it a smoother ride for you guys. It's all about being able to sit with yourself also, because I know a lot of people cannot sit in silence with themselves, right? They constantly have the TV on, they constantly have, like need somebody in the house, they constantly need to be, like they can't sit still and kind of go within. You have to do that, right? It's like the biggest part of awakening and becoming aware of like really what is going on and where your thought patterns are. You also have to be, aware of your triggers and what's triggering you, because that's what's mirroring back to you in order to go in, and figure out, why that is happening. It's literally like, the main objective here is, loving and honoring yourself, right? As to where you were, and where you are now, and where you are becoming. So it's like your past, present, and future, your childhood, your teenage years, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, and so on and so on. We're constantly evolving, we're constantly growing. There's a lot of awakenings happening now, later on in life for a lot of people versus, like earlier on. But I do know there's a huge timeline of young people that are awakening now, which I think is absolutely amazing in itself. Like everything that you're going through and everything that's going to transmute is literally going to give you, like the wisdom to spread the light and the awareness, to other people. And you need to be aware of the things that need to be surrendered. like so you could just flow instead of like, holding on to things and chasing. And, like chasing's always an aspect that, we come up with and we talk about, in our podcasts. But um it's all about the surrender and like literally just giving it to source and giving it to your guides and transmuting the energy and, being in wholeness. And that is, integrating your darkness and your lightness. And your darkness, like I said, is it's not like, spooky and evil, although it can come across like that. It's just all, like the patterns of behavior, the situations you've put yourself in, your childhood trauma, your trauma in general, the situations that you've been in, your limiting belief systems, societal belief systems. What am I missing? Trauma bonds,
Just
like
trauma bonds,
yeah.
the biggest
that-
ones,
That's
you
all your
know,
darkness.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and I say it every single podcast. The
Yeah.
hardest thing to do is to sit within yourself. It's so easy to, go out there and blame everybody for everything that we're feeling inside or even everything that we've went through in life. But until we could really sit with ourselves and see that we have contributed, I'm not saying to every trauma in our life, but we have contributed to a lot of the traumas in our life by letting people do certain things to us for whatever reasons inside. And in order to release it, we need to sit with it, we need to write about it, and we need to transmute it into something positive. And I always say, in our darkest times, we will find the most light because it's in our darkest times that we are able to actually sit with ourselves and say, something needs to change. And unless we get to those points in life, we'll always continue to put the blame outward instead of bringing it back to ourselves. And once we could sit with ourselves and see the things that we have done to create some of these issues in our life and acknowledge it and accept it and have compassion for ourselves, that's when we could really move forward. And transmuting this energy can be such a beautiful thing. And people get so caught up in the work of it because it's not easy. And they get so caught up, they don't know what they could be bringing out into the world once they heal to help others, to help transmute energy even on a global level. So it really is such a powerful thing, but you have to get past the point of blame. And you have to be able to have self awareness in order to sit with yourself, to say, where am I contributing to these issues? And how can I transmute this issue to make it something positive? If we can't look at ourselves, and it's not weak, I think a lot of people think the process is weak, especially the divine masculines would feel like the process is weak to look inward. But it is not weak. It's actually the most powerful thing we could do, not only for ourselves, but the people that are around us.
It's also the most magnetizing thing you could do, especially for a divine masculine, but as well, of course, for the divine feminine. But yes, it's a very powerful magnetizing trait to be able to do that as well. The writing aspect, I want to bounce off that too, because I literally just had this conversation with two people actually over the weekend, or I'm forever having this conversation. I think this is like the one thing that we've always spoke about for like for years. And I think we actually touched on this. And if it's wasn't the last podcast, it was the podcast before the episode before. Writing, right? So actually I think it was the channeling of the energy, whatever episode it was. I know we've touched on this.
Yeah, I know we touched base on it. I'm not sure if it was
I think
six, maybe episode 6 or 7, but we were talking about that.
about writing, right? So like
Yes.
it's more about like, ciphering the energies and getting them out of your system. So it's great to say things out loud, right? And you make your wishes and make sure that they are coming from, a really positive place because your words are magic, right? So the words that you speak to yourself are magic. The words that you're spreading out into the world are magic. And this is coming from a person who drops the F-bomb like 24/7. So, but just like, the F-bomb, put aside and just, like, radiate all positive energy to yourself and thoughts out loud.
Right.
Um, but what's best is writing. Okay. Yeah, it's great to put things in your notes in your phone. I mean, I do that too sometimes, but writing, like getting everything out of your head, right? Writing apology letters to yourself, like in childhood, you could write them. Writing letters, it's not even it, you know, I want to say it's not
It's
about
just, I think what you're trying to say is that writing down your thoughts can provide clarity, and it
absolutely,
helps
it
you
clears
find
it
the
out of
root
your system.
cause,
Yeah,
to
it
find
clears
the
it.
root cause of your trauma.
Absolutely. It clears it out of your physical body. So the whole point is like literally clearing. And when you're writing, you kind of tend to zone out. So you're letting, your subconscious is kind of coming through and writing everything and clearing everything out of your system. You could write letters to anyone that's here, anyone that's not in the physical world anymore. Apology letters, letters that you forgive, or that that you're sorry for what they did, but just like forgiveness letters, letters that you miss them, letters of things that you've always wanted to say and you weren't able to say them. And that's coming, and that's with both, people here in the physical world and people that have passed on. Um, getting everything out, any negative thought patterns that continuously cycle in your head, write them out. And then as you're writing, figure out why it is that you keep, like having these thoughts and like what mind shift, you could do to, like what you could do to shift your mind to release that and move out. Everything, just clearing it out. And then once you're done with these letters, and we have talked about this, like you could either
Yes, we have.
crumble them up and throw them out, or go outside and burn them, and just like literally burn them into the earth, burn them into like a pot, and like dump the pot, so many ways, but do not reread them, and kind of just crumble them up and let them go. It's a huge release. I cannot stress that enough, and I have been saying this for many, many, many years, and I totally swear by this method. It works. It helps if you do it like right, like in during a full moon, but like burn them like after, like the day after the full moon. Which I've been learning. Yay, I've been learning, shocker, with my lovely downloads, that yes, it's great to release on a full moon, but it's more to push out the release the day after. So as soon as the moon cycle shifts into the I think it's wanning, whatever, WANNING, however you want to say it. When it's that's when you kind of just you have to do the most releasing. Yeah, interesting fun fact.
Yes, I like
So
that. And
yeah,
I just wanted to add to, like, when we're talking about writing and we're talking about trauma, especially trauma that maybe others have brought upon you, whether it was abuse, physical, mental abuse, I
sexual.
sexual abuse, I suggest to write in your shadow self. Write all of the trauma, write all of the negativity. This is these exercises are not about saying I forgive you and I give you love and light. These exercises are about you to release the trauma from your body, and writing in a shadow aspect, writing through the pain, is what clears the trauma. So I always suggest, and honoring your shadow self, like you had said earlier, I suggest honor your shadow self right in your pain, and burn that pain into the universe. And with every letter you write, and I've done it. I know that Nicole has done it, and I have clients that have done it. With every letter they write, they become more powerful. They stand more in their feminine. They are able to bring their awareness out into the world because they are clearing that shadow energy with every letter that they write.
Yeah, masculines as well. So let's not. I mean, yes,
Yeah, I mean,
feminine.
of course. I mean, sorry, I tend to talk to the feminine
To talk to
because
the
the
feminines.
majority of people who follow me are feminines. So I do tend to talk to the feminine. But yes, of course, masculine and feminine energy.
Um, yeah, I mean, this is like it's an ongoing practice. It definitely it clears out a lot. And again, it's about forgiving yourself for being in those situations. And best thing my best advice to give you during this is when you are writing and you are clearing it, go back to that version of you, right? Obviously, in your mind, kind of just close your eyes, go back to that version of you and like go give that version of you whatever it needs, a hug, a pound, a kiss, a hug, like a squeeze, a smack on the face, like good job, a tap on the back, like anything where that version of you feels safe and is able to let go, surrender, and move on. And that's where you're integrating your light and your darkness, because you honor your darkness. You understand that that's what you went through. You understand that you are not by far the only person that's gone through whatever it is. Obviously, similar situations, not exactly, but there is so much darkness. There are so many limiting beliefs out there that we were born into, generational things that, like just, being Italian. Holy crap. I mean, I could list the generational things, right there. No shoes on the table. No, like things that like would freak you the
Well,
hell
I
out.
mean, come on, Nicole, no shoes on the table. Who puts their shoes on
No
the table
bags, no
anyway?
bags on the table, no shoes on the table, no shoe boxes on the
Oh my
table,
gosh, no shoes
um,
on.
no bags on the floor. Like all of those are limiting,
Yeah,
all limiting
women
beliefs.
only do the cooking and cleaning. Men
Right.
don't do those
There's another,
things.
that's a societal belief. Believe it or not, the women are, the most powerful. And I think that's when, the dark masculine did step in and kind of started to, like take away our power and believe that we were the
Mm,
lesser of the strength because we were hard to control. So by pulling our power and making the belief that we are the lower, look at us, but a lot of us are breaking free, like, around the world, but a lot of it around the world doesn't really, they're more, open to women in power, but like we're getting there. The US is definitely getting there. This world in general is getting there. Um, but believe me, ladies, you guys are the ones that hold the power the most. Masculines are the ones who hold the most power in the grounding of you, believe it or not. It kind of works. It kind of works both ways. So yes,
well,
masculines,
I
you
mean, of course, feminine holds the
you are just
power. I mean, we hold the womb. Men
yes,
would not be in this on this earth if it wasn't for us, if it wasn't for the feminine.
absolutely.
We are the womb. We give birth to the male. So we are the
We
more
are the
powerful.
creators.
We're
We
the
are the
creators.
divine feminines are the creators.
Right.
The divine masculine is the one who grounds the feminine for us to be able to be the creators. So they're just as helpful. They ground us. They're light transmuters. They help us, right? It's a team. We're always meant to be a team.
Right.
If you don't have that team, then you are your own team at this at the very moment until you are fully within and whole within yourself. And again, not fully completely because you are always evolving. Okay. So, like, I don't want anyone to get caught up in the fact that, like, oh my God, I'm not healed enough to move on. Stop giving yourself so much pressure. Stop
We
doubting yourself.
will
All those doubts, all those, just let them go, surrender them, break free, because that's all that they are is just like literally bars in front of you holding you back.
right. They're
Um,
limiting beliefs. And as humans, we will never be fully evolved. We will never be fully healed. No, nobody is. That's why I always say there's no such thing as this, spiritually completely evolved person. We all have a bit of ego and we all get trapped. And no matter how much evolved we are, we're all going to have moments in our life where we need to go bring it back in, look at ourselves, and say, okay, this needs to be healed within so then I can move forward. As a person, as a human walking this earth, you are never going to, that's why they say nobody's perfect.
right. Well, and I'm gonna bounce it back to We are light beings in human bodies, right? So we are light beings having a human experience. So as much as we awaken and to the world that we know, right? Our divine world, our blueprint, um, we're still having a human experience. So we're still going to, experience human emotions. Things where we feel, touch, we eat, we drink, like, these are things that we do here in a physical aspect. So we always have to understand that we're always going to be transmuting all of these human emotions, right? So like, the sadness, the pain, the this, but it gets easier and easier, as more as you open, as you evolve, as you sit back, and be in your power. The same thing with your ego. Listen, obviously at one point you check it, right? I mean, Christy and I have gone through that. A lot of people that are, in the middle stage of awakening is probably, good with that. The people that are awakening are learning how to check, the ego. Um, that always creeps back in, but you got to kind of just, like be like, all right, take a back seat, and lead with your heart space. Women, you have the power to lead with, your sacral chakra as well as, your heart space because, you have the power. Again, we're the creators. We bring in life to this world. So, like you use that as your emotions. Um, as far as like going back into situations that you've left, that you've cleared, that you've I'm getting the words, but they're not words that I could I could
I just keep hearing setting healthy boundaries. Is that what you're trying to?
no. Well, yes, it is setting healthy boundaries, right? You have to know like when to be if you are, we all have free will, right? We all have contracts, and I talk about contracts all the time, but we don't actually ever go into the quantum depth of the contracts. Which I guess we're gonna have to start going into because that's kind of what they're leading me into. But the point is when you are in a toxic situation, right, or a toxic job, a toxic any situation, right, and the it comes that it's offered back to you, right, as in a form of, like I said, any situation, a relationship, a friendship, a business agreement, opportunity, like anything, right, anything, children, family. You have the opportunity to go back into this contract, right? And like either start a new cycle or you know, just go back into old cycle patterns. What I'm being, like what I'm trying to transfer here, I don't know, is that you have to literally sit with your intuition. So I know like people are getting, well, how do I know when it's time to jump back into a situation? How do I know this and this and that? And I don't want to repeat the same cycles after I'm healed. Like I don't want to enter into something that, is going to be repetitive. Like how do I know when it is the right opportunity for me? You kind of have to sit with your intuition, right? You kind of really have to sit and like space out. Breathing is the like thing that will kind of put you right on the track. So, kind of breathing in, holding it, letting it literally feel and flow through your entire being and then all around you. And then kind of just, and breathe it out. And you will get the green light. You will know, right? Your intuition will give you the green light to move forward, or it'll give you the red light and be like, nope, this is not the situation for you. Keep on moving. It's not ready. Um, they're really, really pushing that aspect because I think a lot of us who are healing and are more evolved, right? Which everybody, of course, will catch up. We're not, one's not higher than anybody else. We're literally all one huge collective. But right now, we're awakening on different levels until we all catch up again. Until we're all one, we're all gonna catch up. But they're stressing that you have to go with the feeling of being put back into situations, but it's because you do have contracts with these things, right? There are ties to these certain situations that once you re-enter a situation, it could look completely different because you're healed the situation is healed, whether it's the job, a relationship, you have to be able to have that mindset and believe in yourself and the intuition that you're receiving, that whether it's the green light or the red light. And listen, the red light will probably come up faster than the green light. If you're second guessing yourself, probably the green light, because you're fearful of going back into something, you're the unknown, basically. You're fearing the same thing happening again on repeat. And if that does happen, you have to be strong enough to pull yourself out, right? To maintain your sovereignty as a person, as a whole being, and pull yourself out of that situation and start back from square one to be like, okay, why is it that I didn't trust my intuition and I didn't stop? Or why is it that like I'm stuck in fear and I won't go forward and I won't go back into the situation, which is not, it's a brand new situation if you think about it. But like what's holding you back from going in? Like what do you have to surrender? What do you have to release? What are you missing? Again, like evolution, constant involvement. Did I explain that correctly, or do you need to like kind of
No, I think you explained it correctly. And it's really just going back and saying we as humans in we need to constantly be clearing this energy in order to be able to say give the green light for your intuition, to say okay, it's time
thank
to move
you.
forward. Yeah, so I think that's what you're saying, like doing the work, going inside, clearing all of those negative aspects or all of those limiting belief systems and traumas and past wounds, recognizing them, clearing them, and then your intuition gives you the green light to move forward, and you can move forward in that situation in a more positive light. I think, like, to sum it up, I feel like that's what you were
Yeah,
working
they're
around.
just like literally hounding me right now, which is
Yeah.
lovely. So source wants you to understand that you have to forgive yourself for the times that you doubted your intuition, right? So if your intuition said don't do this, and this is more like in a past situation versus in a future situation. Like in the past, when you knew that you shouldn't have gone into a situation, and you felt that you knew, you have to forgive yourself for doubting your intuition, because it happens. And again, they're just saying, forgive yourself, love on yourself in that moment, and kind of move forward. They're really stressing the loving on yourself, the forgiving, the making sure that you go into that version of you and like literally show yourself love and like and move forward and kind of embrace that and move forward.
Right.
Very big right now. I mean, it's coming
Yes, like
so strong. I can't even begin to tell you.
taking proactive steps to make positive changes in your life. And then that helps you feel more in control and free from guilt.
Yeah. Um Listen, I mean, it's the whole, world is shifting right now. I mean, the shifting is insane, and I mean, it's exciting. Just yesterday was, I mean, I was like bouncing out of my skin yesterday. I was so excited. And my kids didn't even give me like 5 freaking seconds by myself yesterday. And I was still like trying to however, you have that, but you have all the shifting, right? And all of the people that are resisting the shift right now
Mhm.
also playing, like into the energy of the world. And if you are empathic and if you are awakening, the veil is so thin right now that you're going to be feeling a lot of these
Yeah.
energies. So I'm going to stress, lighting candles, white ones preferably, black ones, more clearing and protective energy. But you can't go wrong with white ones. Any scent, anything that like kind of gets you going. Anything added to the white candle, but white candles are your safest, like, and most, I want to say, like, popular and easy to grab. And they could be like literally just a clear candle. Doesn't even have to have scent. White candles, any essential oils, get those going on your body in the house. And I know we discussed this, like during our the episode.
Christmas. the
Yeah,
Christmas
the Christmas
episode,
episode,
like
right?
the
Where
holiday
we're
episode. But yes, though I do want to stress right now
yeah.
there is a lot of shadow, a lot of negative energy. So please, if you are a light worker and you do hold a lot of white light, you need to protect yourself now. There is a lot of negative energy going around. I've been feeling it at the start of this week. I felt so much of a demonic energy in the outside world. So I agree, Nicole. Any ways that we could stress to protect your energy right now is very very important.
Absolutely. And keep your own vibe, high. So, um, try to eat, and I know it's a little rough out there, but like try to eat clear, clean foods, like not processed, not, like just kind of try to limit your intake and kind of eat as healthy as you could during this because it's just going to like, raise your vibration. Try not to smoke. If you're smoking, try to break that habit. Drinking, same thing. Kind of just try to again, raise your vibration as much as possible. Lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, lots of things that like were grown in mother earth herself. Would be like the time to like really kind of dive deep into that. But it's exciting again, like don't get so caught up in the negative, whereas it's just like the shifting of everything happening.
Yeah,
Because we're in a really amazing time right now. I mean
we really are. We
I
really are, and
yeah,
that's why the negative energy is so profound right now.
because it's scared
Because
because it has nowhere to go and it's literally being shifted out of the way.
right, because the light has finally overshadowed overshadowed the darkness. Yeah, and it's a very exciting time, but the people
Extremely.
living in the shadow, the people living in the darkness, they are trying very hard to regain control. So this is the time that we need to stay above it all. So like Nicole said, taking care of our body, our temple. Number one. Number two, just stay away from the social media right now because the social media is really, really trying to pull people back, really trying to get them back into this negative patterns of
Media in
thinking
general.
and
So like
believing.
news, kind of stay away from
Yeah,
that.
just
Stay
stay,
away from
you
like
got to stay
negative
above it.
people in
You
general.
got to stay above it. And this is going to be, this is to me personally, I feel like on a personal level, this is going to be moving this energy, staying above this energy. And if we could stay above it, and as light workers, we are usually really good about staying above that energy, transmuting it once it hits us, and pushing light back into the world. But we
Absolutely.
really need to stay. I feel like this is going to continue through March. So we really need to be aware of what's going on around us.
Yeah, maybe we should do an episode just dedicated to light workers now that I'm thinking about it. Or maybe this one should be dedicated. Well, this is kind of
This
like an
one
all,
kind of like is a
but
roundabout. I think
we may
we
have
do
to do
need
like
to
just
dedicate a few episodes to go more in depth. And I think like once people really get to know us and listen in, and they, we've been hitting the surface of a lot of topics, but I think, we're getting ready to kind of go more deeper into the
I
conversations.
feel like we're supposed to be
Yeah.
going more quantum. Quantum, I can totally, translate one, two, three. It's the non being able to. It's the translating into not quantum, which I mean, like some things just cannot be translated. Um, on another level of good times, I guess, or happy vibes. The world is literally shifting, and if you are awakened, you are feeling this, right? And it's the most amazing thing ever. We're shifting from consciousness, right? So, I mean, some of us are already in a different, consciousness. I guess this is kind of quantum too, now that I think about it. But, there's a lot of integrating. So integrating, like my screen really went just like,
It
wow,
really
crazy.
did. It's going wonky right now.
So like basically everything is intertwining, right? And I'm having this on a personal level in a personal situation, on top of, like having it, on a quantum level as well, which is that's kind of quantum anyways. It doesn't, it's all quantum. Um, is that, it's the 3D, right? The old versions of you and the higher versions of you, right? Easier. This is like the easiest way to put it right now, right? So it's old versions of you and the higher versions of you, right? The things that are being pulled to you are literally intertwining and integrating. So you're gonna feel things from like childhood and this and that, but they're all of those moments where you were scared or afraid or trying to hold back are integrating. So they're not feeling, especially if you cleared all your trauma already, they're not going to be like hard, tough, rough moments, but you're going to feel them all integrating. So it's all intertwining in a happier, upbeat level. So it's literally wow. Li- oh my God. Sorry. You can tell where my energy is at right now. It's just you're coming into wholeness, you're coming into one, and your light and dark aspects are just forming, and you're taking like the next step up, like the next leap, because you are no longer that person, right? But instead of shedding that entire, and you're integrating that energy into your highest self right now. So there's a lot of that shifting going on, and I personally feel it. And it's interesting, I'm gonna say, like, versus, like, obviously things that I experience on a regular daily life.
Right.
Daily, this has been
Yes.
the most interesting, and I'm gonna say that if you are in a union with your divine masculine, your union right now is going to take it on a whole other level, right? So if you're married and you're with a soulmate, your counterpart, it's going to jump to the next level. So you guys are, it's from what I'm being shown and given is it's going to be incredible. Really incredible. If you are in a situation that you're not supposed to be in, right? A karmic situation, things that are toxic, that you're growing, the person's not, or the person's growing and you're just refusing to do the work, that is going to be ripped apart. And I can't explain to you how that's going to be ripped apart, like the impact, but it's going to literally rip apart. And you're gonna have to do the work and move forward. People that are in line, I say in line to be in union, those counterparts, again, you're going to experience a lot of integrating, a lot of, like getting it, especially if you were in a past relationship with them, a lot of integrating, a lot of clearing and just mixing of the whole oneness, and a lot of that going on. And then I think that's when, yeah, so that's when the union happens, because you're having quantum level, you're always having quantum level conversations with your counterpart anyway, but they're coming into the physical, and that's what's being integrated, and then that's also what's going to jump you to the next level. So anything that's happening right now is going to jump you. Even if you're in a bad situation and it looks like it's going, like your life is crumbling, it's actually, pushing you forward, pushing you to the next level anyway. But again, if you are with your divine counterpart already, and I shouldn't, any divine counterpart, again, soulmate, twin flame, there's really no other, your emperor, your king, whatever. It's going to, like you're all going to your queen if you're masculine. Sorry. I always try to
See,
like integrate the masculine. Your queen, your divine counterpart, your soul, whatever. You're just gonna jump up to the next level, and it's going to be even more pure, and
right.
flowing. They're also, right now I'm getting the whole, surrendering. You have to surrender. I think that was the hardest thing for me, to surrender. And I'm sure Christy's gonna agree with me on like even the littlest of things to surrender. And like, but once you do, you're literally like you're being pushed into a state of flow. So instead of chasing, you're literally like you're flowing, like you're gliding like into this, like new reality and into the unknown. Fear is just an illusion, guys, and you really kind of have to surrender to that, especially if you are in a situation that you need to let go of. Just surrender in it. and get it over with. And I say that in the most loving way. Love on yourself, surrender, and kind of just go into the unknown. The unknown is really cool. And I say that after fighting the unknown. So
Right,
so don't fight it, because now I don't fight it. I'm just like, sure, let's go with it. Let's go with this. Let's go with that. And again, I'm constantly shifting. The world right
right.
now is constantly shifting. A lot of people are constantly shifting. So your 5 minutes from now may look completely different from what you thought your 5 minutes from now is going to look like. That's the story of my life. It's very exciting. But again, go with the unknown and take out the fear. It's all pure. As long as you're in a good headspace, your mindset is good, your energy is good, there's no reason in the world, and the non-world, to hold on to anything, because you will continue, to flow and magnetize in what you need in order to have a wonderful, prosperous life here, in the now. Was that
Yes,
these,
I
these
loved it.
downloads are killing me today, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head. Um, Not living in fear. I mean, that's such a big thing, not living in fear.
Oh, it's huge.
Took a long time for me not to live in fear. Everything I did, it would always be like a fear-based process for me. I would constantly let the fear move in. And it was only when I started learning how to transmute the fear into excitement or positive energy is when I will say I spent years having anxiety. And it was only at that point when I learned how to transmute fear that my anxiety completely dissipated. I don't suffer from anxiety anymore. And I spent a good, 20, 30 years of my life suffering from anxiety. It was all fear based anxiety. My mind always went to the darkest place. And once I learned to transmute the fear, it doesn't go there anymore. My mind actually goes to a very positive place now. Like if you continue on this path, look at all the things that you can have. Before it would be like, oh, but if you continue on this path, like it's going to be a lot of work, and are you really ready for that? And always putting everybody first, and I don't let my mind go there anymore. So transmuting that energy is such a powerful feeling. I mean, talk about standing in your true power.
Yeah, and you just made a huge valid point on anxiety. And I've seen that. I mean, I've seen it in myself. I've seen it, in other people. It's the anxiety that, because you're so afraid of the unknown, because your soul wants you to level up, but you're holding back. That's where the anxiety is. That's where it stems from. That's where it's coming from. Obviously you could pick up on other people's anxiety. That's a whole other, issue. We're talking about, like, you yourself, you should know. um yeah, I mean, how many times have like, I've seen people go down because they just won't let go, and it could be like the littlest of things, like, you just, rearranging the house to a certain, degree,
Mhm.
or like, you won't let go, of that. Um, and have somebody
And
come in.
letting go of fear is honestly, it sounds so much harder than it is, but it's simply letting go of control.
Well, you make it. I mean, like, we make it that it's so complicated and it's so hard, when it's so totally not, and it's a complete mind shift. And you're right, it's just letting go of the control, because you know, um, in all reality, we don't have control over any situation, right? We're the creator. We flow with that imagination. We flow with those ideas, and then we let the universe align us with them. Meaning that we let go, we surrender, and we do the work, whatever's called for us to do, to elevate to that level where it comes in. You cannot fear the process, and again, it is such a bad place to be stuck in, and really it's a mindset that you're stuck in. There's
Yeah.
nothing else holding you but your own self, that's grasping onto fear. Um, of clutter,
I mean,
guys, get rid of the clutter.
sorry.
Sorry, I'm sorry. The clutter, anything that like you're not using in your house, anything that like old clothes, things that have holes in them, things that like need to be replaced, things, get rid of everything that's just um that you feel could bring in dense energy. They're just telling me, clean
Yeah,
house.
and I agree. My home is everybody comes into my home and they're always like, "Oh, you have nothing around." I don't have anything around because clutter causes me anxiety. And what people don't realize, a lot of people don't realize, is that clutter causes everybody anxiety. It triggers your mind to feel off.
Well, because
It's
it's
just,
holding
you need a clear
energy.
space.
Yeah, it's keeping energy. Listen, I mean, I always had a clean house. So let's not, but I always had nice stuff, like, all my books, whatever. But I was always cleaning, right? So as long as you're cleaning, no clutter though. Like, but as long you have to constantly be cleaning, open the windows, sunlight, wash the
Mm.
floors. Again, I mean, we've spoken this, I want to say episode 5.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's so true. And so many people are like, "Oh, you're so crazy about cleaning and clutter." No, I'm trying to protect
cleaning
myself,
out
my
the energy. It's
anxiety,
not
and
literally
my
like, yeah,
energy. So
yeah,
it's not, to me, I love to clean and keep my space out of clutter, because for me, on a personal level, it's a ritual.
yeah,
It's not a
absolutely.
chore.
Absolutely. I totally 1000% agree with you. Um, Washing your face at night or taking a shower in general, but like washing your face at least off the, like washing the day off you. Very important. Like, I cannot stress that. You kind of have to clear yourself of the energy. Do not try not to put like the outside onto your bed. So like anything that you wore on the outside, try not to sleep in it. And if you did, change your sheets, wash them, like kind of just keep the energy flowing, especially in like
Mm.
your safe space.
I do that all the time. When I'm out and about at work or anywhere. When I come home from my day, I automatically change my clothes. If I can shower, I will. If that doesn't call for my day, because I mean, you can contest, the day doesn't stop. I mean, when you wake up to when you go to bed, you're just running. But every time I come home, I walk in the door, I change my clothes, and I put them right into either the washing machine or my hamper, and I put on my comfortable clothes for the evening, new clothes, new energy. That's just how I've always done it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're a light worker. And how you define if you're a light worker. Well, you'll know because basically you're going to be triggering the world. You're going to be triggering either somebody in their niceness, and you're going to get mirrored back like all these nice things, or you're going to get the triggers of somebody, like, and it's going to be often where you're going to get the negative aspect back to you. So, like, you'll know if you're a light worker. But yeah, I would highly suggest you keep yourself as free, as energy clear as
Mm,
possible, and try to be outside a lot. I know like
yeah.
some places are hot, some places are too cold right now, but try to get as much sunlight and air as possible. My throat chakra is going. What's going on?
Hey, my throat chakra has been so much better. It's so healed. I'm so happy. I hope
Uh,
yours doesn't go out next. It's not fun.
no, 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 no. I've been there. I don't want to go back there. Although I mean, if I have to, I have to. It's not really can't stop that. Another thing is stop avoiding going down. So as far as if your body needs to rest, take a rest. If you're taking a week off from the gym, take a week off from the gym. If you're taking off from yoga, take off from yoga. If you run every morning and your body's telling you no, do not force. And I get that there's so many things that say stay consistent, stay consistent. If your body is telling you no, your body needs a break. That means that you're either processing, all these upgrades and processing out all the, negative emotions. You kind of need, like a little bit of a downtime. Okay. no one's going to tell you to take like a month off from the gym. If that's the case and you're getting lazy, totally different aspect. That's not good for you. But sometimes you kind of just need to just sit still, be still, and kind of let everything kind of, transform through you. Especially that's like your best bet for mindset shifts as well.
Yeah,
I have
you get more used to it as you grow in your spirituality. You get more used to taking the time out for yourself to do that.
instead of
But
right,
even
instead of
now I'm
fighting it.
yeah, but even now I'm guilty of it. Like last what 2 weeks ago I was deathly ill. I couldn't talk, I couldn't work, I couldn't do anything. Because it came to the point where they were like, okay, yeah, you're not shutting down, so we're gonna make you shut down. And so I fight it. I fight it even till now, but I've gotten better about it because I've been so sick. I've been so sick where, I've been put out for consecutive years at one point. But I just you got to stop fighting it. You just have to stop fighting it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's bottom line. Stop resisting anything that's trying to come to you. You kind of just the less resistance, the easier of the flow, the easier it is to shift, the easier it is to move forward. Um, the unknown is not a scary place. It may seem like it is, but it's not, and it's really cool. It can be lonely sometimes when you're like the only one, especially in your household that shifts. And you're like, "Oh, you can't have
Yeah.
quantum conversations with anybody." But,
Well, you're
like,
having
that's why you have to
conversations,
find your people.
just not with
What?
living people. I said you're not having conversations with them. You're having conversations. You're not having conversations with living people. Everybody
It's true.
always asks me like, "Aren't don't you feel lonely? Aren't you bored all by yourself?" And I'm like, no, because I'm never alone.
Never
I'm
alone.
never alone. So no, for me, um, it doesn't bother me because I'm never really alone. And I
No,
feel like my that's my son too. Like I don't think he realizes it yet, but that's my son too. He's like me. He can't be around people for too
he
long.
needs
He's
his
got to
alone
come
time.
in.
Yeah.
He's definitely, and he's always like talking to him. Now I want to say like he's talking to himself, but like he's always like talking and like doing things on. And I'm like, oh, this kid has no clue. Like he has no clue yet.
I actually just had that conversation with my oldest too the other yesterday actually, because I was like, I had them growing up in such like a spiritual bubble, I guess. And like now that they're teenagers and like society is kind of like ripping at them, they're, like going into their teenage aspect. And I'm like, once you reawaken, right, is what basically what's going to happen. I was like, it's going to be like a whole, you're going to be like, oh, now I get it, like versus they got it when they were younger. They're kind of losing it in their lovely teenage, which is so sad because my daughter, I mean, was so connected. I mean, right? I mean,
Oh
that's
yeah,
actually
she'll
how we
go
met
back. She's gonna go
because
back.
my daughter and your son kind of just out of nowhere too connected, and that's it, and that's exactly how we met. um but like it's so bizarre to see, like the teenagers like kind of deny that aspect right now. You can see like all my writing on the back. Don't judge me.
I am. I mean, I've been there as a teenager. I had a
Don't
really
see, like I
what?
literally like, I tried to do everything but spiritual work, right? I mean, I literally have gone every other route but spiritual work until I finally
Right.
said, fuck this, because it doesn't matter, because everything that I'm trying to do leads me back to spiritual work anyway. And that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to really, really fully embrace my light and do what I'm here to do. So
Right.
I mean,
That's what we're here to do, and that's what Emma's here to do. Eventually, that will happen for her.
right. But like at the same time, like who am I to judge? Because I mean, I literally just took off the mask, right? Unfortunate for
Uh,
me because I've had this on the back burner my entire life.
I know. I've been bugging you for 10 years. So
I mean, whatever, it is what it is. But like, it's hard to take off that mask, and and it really is. But once you really fully embrace your like true self, it's incredible. And like I cannot stress that enough to like everybody. And I like especially like the people that you're closest to, and you're just like, oh my God, once you fully embrace like the real you, it's crazy. Like the freedom that you feel of like not having to hide anything at all, any aspect of you. And I was pretty out and open to begin with. Like everybody knew I was spiritual. I just kind of just didn't lean, like that wasn't my main thing, even though like it toyed with me for years. For years, it was like, okay,
Yeah.
you're going to lead with this, you're going to lead with that. Are you going to do your designing and decorating, or are you going to lead with this? Are you going to do your skincare, or are you going to lead with this? It was constant, 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 constant. Um,
So since we're talking about spiritual gifts, though, you should share with everybody how amazing of a medium that you are. And I'm always getting on you about that.
yeah, well, the medium, yeah. So yeah, thanks. I think I'm
And
more
it's
of
so funny
a,
because I literally like dived into my microphone to share that information,
I
which
did,
is so weird because I it's been if I'm like, you need to do your work.
yeah, so I've been taking a break from mediumship because I honestly, I don't know. But I mean, it was taken away from me for a little bit. So I do have that aspect because I think it was when I begged them to take it away because I couldn't do that and be a single mom at the same time. And I kind of needed, well, that, and I was
Right.
kind of having all these past life regressions too at the same time. And I was like, well, there's a lot, I can do a lot, but like I can't do a lot, being a single parent. So they did take it away, or I kind of blocked it out as much as I could. Anyway, nothing you really could block out. But I think I'm more supposed to be, although it came up the other day for somebody, I think it was my cousin, and I just kind of just all this, everybody kept coming in. And again, it was like that whole elevator opened and like everybody wanted to charge at me. And I was like, everybody just calm down. I'm not open for business. But and then I did like kind of like a mini reading for him, and I was like, okay, this is who and who, such and such came in. And of course, it's always easy for me to do grandparents, my grandparents, anybody else's grandparents, because I have that strong connection with grandparents. But in overall actualness, I think I'm supposed to be more of a an overall channeler, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of like just medium. But I was
Well,
actually
yeah, I
at
see
the other
that.
day that I should kind of.
I see that because me and you are definitely the type of people we actually can channel the living
Yes.
very well.
Yes.
So
So I actually prefer that, believe it or not. I mean,
yeah,
I
me too.
like relaying messages, like no problem. Like I think that's cool. And like, oh, your grandma says hi and loves you. But and like, where like I said, I was like famous for finding, people's stuff. I was like, I knew where my girlfriend's rings were every single time she misplaced them, where her wallet was, where, anyone's wallet was. Like, I mean, I was great with that. But like, I love being able to channel source and like bigger, like, a more,
Right.
I guess,
Well,
profound.
I guess everybody says like medium work, you think just like the deceased, but that's not always true. Medium work, like
It's not,
medium between the
yeah,
5D, between, vibration of people.
yeah.
So I think you're just so talented in that aspect.
I'm gonna cry. Thank you. I think it's because I don't really, like I'm not out there doing one-on-ones anymore, or just in general. But like, I mean, you do it all the time, and I love that you do that. Like, I love it. Like, I'm
Yeah.
like too busy admiring you I know, to get off to go and do it myself. I
You have to
have
get
to.
out of the fear-based mind and into the work aspect. No, but I understand how you feel about that. Just like grazing the subject really quick, because I feel like I just need to say something on that. Medium work it does give people anxiety. I know I do because I want to give them the messages, that they want to come through. And unfortunately, when you're doing this type of work, that doesn't happen very often. Like you give people messages, but it's not always who they want them from or what they want to hear. So
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
channeling other living people and relationship based, like you give people information they don't want to hear it. You're not their best friend. But I think that's why I always say in my work, like I'm gonna give you the truth. So that's not gonna make me your best friend in the end.
Right. Well, I always lead with that. because in any conversation, I end up channeling something, right? But I always lead, and I always did lead with that. And I think that's why I loved Jeffrey Wands, who is, a huge famous medium. He was, and I've known him since I was 4. So like I always loved his aspect, and I know people are like, oh my God, we prefer Teresa Caputo because she's so, who I also know, right? I mean, it's funny how I know, like, I know all of these people. But like I always loved him because he was the raw, like, realness. He'll tell you, like, anything and everything. And it's things that you don't want to hear. And I will be the one to channel things that you don't want to hear. Right. And that's just how it is. And I fair warn. I do fair warn, and I say it all the time because even like on this show, like, we lead with episodes, and again, like, look at what we're talking about. Like, it's the flow. It's what spirit wants, to let out. It's what needs to be said. It's not, unfortunately, sometimes with the customer or your client, I shouldn't say customer, your client, like, expects. You're gonna get the raw truth. And I've done that to Christy. How many times I'm like, Christy, you're gonna kill me? Like, I remember I'm like, but your guides are telling me that, like, I mean, I remember sitting on the floor doing that with you. I was like,
And you're right. I mean, you're 100% right. I'm not ever going to take that away from you. In the moment, did I want to hear it? No.
no.
Did I want to believe it? Absolutely not. But you're right. So
Yeah.
that's the whole point of it. That's
Yeah. So I think if you're listening to us, just understand, if you do go and get readings, right? Any type of reading, just, you have to be open. And I know, like, I think it's like a full disclosure that you kind of have to be open, to hear anything. And I know that there's sometimes people that come through that you don't even recognize, right, at first, and you don't know who they are, and it could be an ancestor, and you're just not picking up on it. And then you'll remember, like, a certain situation or whatever, or number, or resonate with something after, like, you leave that session. But you really have to be open to receiving the information, because once your ego goes up, it kind of also blocks the connection as well, during your reading. But I'm not one who could even be read. I haven't been able to be read in years, because and if you shift timelines very often, I'm going to tell you this right now, it's very hard to get a reading from, like, when you go to, when you want, like a spread of your future. That's more psychic than medium. It's, to me, you all have a channel. It's just a matter of what you're channeling.
yeah.
Um, but it's very hard to get one of those. Astrology, I would totally, it's your chart. It's more based on your Akashic records, which is more based on your blueprint, which is more based on your soul purpose. There we go. Kind of led to your soul purpose and your contracts, which are all your contracts. So basically, your contracts would be more of an astrological reading. So if you wanted to get more of a blueprint of your life, and you cannot tune into that yourself, I would totally do the chart reading. Um, I cannot do that for you. But I could also give you I kind of just channel Akashic records anyway. So if you go to an Akashic record reader, that's good. But I would do astrology for that.
I just wanted to add, if you are in the New York, Long Island area, Lisa Kellerman is amazing. She could do the astrology readings. So just look her up, Lotus Blossom Journey, and she does very good astrology reading. She even teaches astrology. So if there's anybody out there interested in learning more about astrology, she has classes as well.
We'll link her info.
Yeah, that would be great.
It'll be in the comments, guys. Comment section. We're gonna link it in the comment section. Can we do that on Spotify too? Like, link it in the comment section? That's your job. Spotify's all on you.
Spotify is really new to me, but I will figure it out.
No, we'll figure it out. Her information will definitely be linked. I think, do we have anything else that needs to be said for today?
I think we really covered it from really every angle and
Do we
then
ever,
some.
like, really cover anything? But yeah.
Like I said, we spend so many times grazing so many topics. I
Yeah.
think people, now that people are like getting to know us and know our flow, I think next podcast we should really dive deeper
Dive deeper. Maybe
into
we'll go into soul
stuff,
contracts and
because we
start
always talk about the the raw uncovered truth of the awakened soul, but we haven't really like that
dived
raw.
really deep in. I think we're getting there. Listen, guys, it's so hard to actually even title these episodes because we're all over the place. So yeah, so there's that. All right, so that's a wrap. So we'll come at you next week, right? And until then, really try to, maintain your high vibration and really vibe high, guys, because everything in the unknown is really coming to fruition and it's going to be incredibly amazing, like absolutely incredibly amazing. And if you doubt yourself, reach out to one of us, like Christy's available. I will make myself available. Reach out to us if you have any questions. Book a session with us if you want, and we'll kind of walk you through everything. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm saying peace out. Christy, you want to take it away?
Yeah, thanks for joining us on the raw uncovered truth of the awakened soul, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye, everybody.